Hi, my name is Ingrid Throgmartin. I'm your Algebra 1 online math teacher and I work at BMCHS. I have to do a few short videos and tutorials to supplement the ones that are online, and the first one is Chapter 1.1 Variables and Expressions. So let's talk about math. Math can be made up of symbols, numbers, variable, pi, and they're all a shorthand way to represent numbers. If we use these symbols, they're much quicker to manipulate than using words. So what exactly is a variable? Well, it's a symbol that represents a numerical value. It's usually a letter, although it could be a Greek letter. There's some ones that you want to stay away from. E represents a constant, and you'll learn about that a bit later on. And I represents a complex number, which you'll learn probably in Algebra 2. So you want to stay away from the letters E and I, and then L can be confusing because it can be mistaken for a 1. So unless your L has a little curly thing at the end, you might want to stay away from that. So if they ask you to write a variable, you can choose a letter, like maybe you can choose X, or you could choose an N. N for number, that seems like a good number or good symbol to use. And an expression basically is a mathematical phrase. It's like having part of a sentence. It's not the whole sentence, it's just part of it. And there are two types. A numerical expression is a phrase which only has numbers in it and operational symbols. And the operational symbols can be a division, or an addition, or a subtraction, and so on. There's no variables in a numerical expression. An algebraic expression, on the other hand, is a phrase that includes one or more variables and or numbers and or operational symbols. So an algebraic expression has to have a variable in it somewhere. In this section, what you'll be doing is changing words to symbols. And the way they'll say it is write an algebraic expression for each word phrase. So they're going to give you a bunch of words which you're going to have to change back into symbols. So the other thing they're going to ask you to do is go the other way, and that is write a word phrase for the algebraic expression. So they're going to give you some algebraic symbols and some numbers, and you're going to have to write them in words. And the last thing they'll do is they're going to ask you to write or use a table to find an algebraic expression which describes a predictable number pattern. Okay, and you'll be going through that as you work through your problems in the interactive part of your textbooks. The things to watch for here, for example, is the real tricky one is 8 less a number and the words 8 less than a number. You really need to know what the difference between those are. So 8 less than a number, the way I would write that is I would write 8. I'm having a bit of trouble here. I'd write 8, and then the number less is the negative sign or the subtraction sign, and then this little part here, that would be my n. So if you read it left to right, you get 8 less a number. For the second example, it's a little bit different. Less than is still a minus sign or a negative sign, but when we have less than, we have to put the order back to front. A number part, the n, has to go in front of the 8, so it becomes n minus 8. So make sure you know the difference between those two, because that can be really tricky. The other things to watch for is make sure you know what the words mean. Quotient, which is spelled Q-U-O-T-I-N-I-E-N-T, quotient is like division. It's the answer to when you divide one something by another something. So for example, if I say the quotient of a number and 8, then you would have to put the n, the quotient of, so that would be the division symbol. So the quotient of a number in 8 would be n over 8. Don't use the division sign in algebra. Use a horizontal division bar. I don't like these diagonal ones that can be very confusing. Okay, remember, when you do your homework, check your work by looking at the answer at the back of the book once you've completed the question, and so that way you'll know how you did, you'll get some feedback, and you'll know if you're getting the concepts. If you didn't get it right or you made an error, try to work out why. It's only when we figure out the patterns and rules of engagement that we truly get to know how math works. So it's not wrong to look at the back of the book, and when I look for your homework, your practice assignment, I'll be looking for the process of how you did things. So you need to write the question, the work, which is really what I'm interested in, and then your answer so that you can check it. Well, thanks for listening, and I'm looking forward to a really enjoyable, wonderful year.